Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Synaesthesia. I am Zoe. So I've been posting shorts on my channel and I've been getting a lot of love from you guys, great comments and reactions, so I thought I should probably formally introduce myself. For those of you who are new here, I have a neurological phenomenon called synesthesia, and on this channel is where I'm going to share what it's like for me to have synesthesia, and I will share it in the form of videos or animation, digital art, storytelling, or in any way that I can. So welcome. To preface, I would just like to say that whatever that I'm sharing is my own personal experience with synesthesia. Synesthesia is very subjective and it differs greatly between each synesthete. There can be overlaps or similarities, but it's very subjective still. So there is no right way for a synesthetic experience. So this is just how I experience the world with my synesthesia. Studies on synesthesia are also still ongoing, so whatever opinions that I might have or information that I'm sharing will change, maybe in 6 months or a year or whatever, so I may change my mind when we get new information. But if there is, I'll be sure to share with you guys. I'm also just a girl with synesthesia and I cannot diagnose anyone, but I will share some of the resources that has helped me. So if you suspect that you have synesthesia, you can go ahead and check out these resources that I'll be leaving in the description box. And if you're curious, you can go ahead and check them out too. And lastly, I'd like to remind everyone to be kind in the comments. There is a degree of misunderstanding when it comes to synesthesia. I would really appreciate if you could approach synesthesia with curiosity rather than judgment. A lot of synesthetes have some unpleasant experiences with the way people react to them when they share about their synesthesia. So let's be nice and let all these hiding synesthetes come out to play. If not, do it for the YouTube community guidelines, okay? So that's out of the way. The big question, what is synesthesia? To simplify the definition of synesthesia, it's basically the cross-wiring of our brains that results in a merging of senses. So for example, a singular stimulant can evoke 2 or more senses. For example, you can see sounds or hear colors. A synesthete can also have one form of synesthesia or multiple forms of synesthesia. At the moment, we have about 80 or more forms of synesthesia, but then because there are so many different ways that our 5 senses can cross, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly how many forms synesthesia has. For me, I have multiple forms of synesthesia, but one of the most dominant one would be sound to color. So when I hear a sound, I would see a shape or a color or both. Sometimes it will also give me tactile sensations as well. It means I can feel it in my body, like in my eye or my ears, or I feel like ants crawling up my back. There's a bunch of unpleasant ones at the moment. Actually, I can't think of any good ones. So far, they're unpleasant. For me as well, it's more than just music. It can be just general sounds or people's voices too. But they're all at varying degrees of intensity. So some are more jarring than the others. It's kind of like having a TV in my mind's eye, and it's always switched on. There is no off switch for it. And the TV is always playing something. There's something on it always. The best I could do is just ignore it and not watch the television. But sometimes when a sound is very, very jarring or very strong, I'm kind of forced to watch the television. It's just in my face. It's just like shoved in my face. But for me to function day to day, I just try my best to ignore it as much as possible. But that doesn't mean it's off. It's still there. It's just in the background, if that makes sense. But if you want to really dive into the actual definition of what synesthesia is, I recommend listening to this episode on the Let's Talk Synesthesia podcast hosted by my friend, psychologist, synesthete, and synesthesia artist, Maike. She interviewed Professor Jools Simner, who is a professor of neuropsychology and synesthesia expert. You can go listen it and hear it straight from the horse's mouth, exactly the definition of synesthesia, which is still in the midst of getting properly defined. But yeah, go check it out. It's great. She gave a lot of great insight about synesthesia from the scientific point of view. I will leave the link in the description. Some cats are fighting. Okay, so how did I find out that I have synesthesia? I found out when I was 25 or 26, somewhere around there. 25, I think. Yeah, 25. I was chatting with a friend of mine who is a music producer, and we were talking about the kind of music that I would like to do. And I started describing everything in colors and shapes. I said that my voice is purple and round, so songs that are complementary to purple would fit me. For example, like Adele, her songs are very blue and like gray, blue, black, all those colors. And those would fit me well. And that's when he asked me if I had synesthesia. And of course, I replied with a, what is that? So he pulled out some websites about synesthesia. I read them and I was like, yeah, that's how it is for me. And then he looked at me and he said that he doesn't see colors and shapes. For him, music is completely mathematical. And that was kind of like my moment of like, oh, okay, but what do you mean? I was completely speechless. I didn't know how to react, I think. I went home, I asked my parents, my friends, nobody saw colors and shapes. And I was like, oh, I just always assumed that everybody saw these colors and shapes and they know what I mean when I said my singing voice is purple and round. Turns out I was completely wrong about that. And then I had a really good friend of mine, when I told him I had synesthesia, he started experimenting with it. So he played like different instruments, like the cymbals and the drums and whatnot. And he asked me what I saw when I hear all those instruments. And he would mix them up, put them together, put them separately. And then we did that for about 2 hours and it was completely exhausting for me. And then that was like 7 years ago. I left it because I just thought, okay, so I see colors and shapes and then what? Like, I didn't think it impacted any other parts of my life. I just thought like, okay, this is just one of the things and I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Like, it's not that interesting. And then a few years later, when I was already living in Japan with two of my best friends, they encouraged me to draw them out because they wanted to see how it looks like. So I started sketching them out on my iPad. Now, I'm not a drawing person ever when I was growing up. Stickman at best, or I copy like anime pictures painstakingly. But I just wanted to show them what it's like, you know, so I just scribbled some stuff on my iPad. I showed it to them. I explained to them what's what. And if there's any tactile experiences as well, I would just share it with them too. And then again, I left it because I didn't think it was that interesting and I don't know how I'm going to use it. Like, it's just, I see colors and shapes up until this year. And then I started drawing it a bit more seriously. So I wanted to reverse engineer this so I can use it for songwriting or when I'm communicating with other musicians, because if I hear a piece of song and something isn't quite right, I would know because the color isn't in the right place or the color isn't right, the shape is in the wrong place or the wrong shape, but I can't tell them, like I can't communicate with them like, hey, this bass is too triangular, it has to be rounder, but I don't know what would be a round bass. So it's very hard for me to work with other people as well because I don't know how to express myself. I wanted to understand my relationship with music through drawing and through my synesthesia. And then I found Maike's Instagram, which I also highly recommend if you are a synesthete. Again, I'll leave her socials in the description box because going through her Instagram, I found easy to understand, digestible, latest information about synesthesia, and it equipped me with the vocabulary that I needed to talk about synesthesia or even express my synesthetic experiences. That really helped me with figuring things out. And then I started realizing I have all these multiple forms of synesthesia, and I started going on this whole self-discovery journey when all I wanted to do was to reverse engineer my synesthesia for music. Like for me, I feel like my whole life I've been walking around with this perpetual mental fog and I didn't know where it was coming from. I also thought everybody had that mental fog, but they're just handling a lot better than I do. But now that I'm on this whole synesthetic self-discovery rainbow journey, it became clear to me where the fog was coming from, and this mental fog is starting to lift. It's still there. I'm still figuring out a lot of things, but it's starting to lift, and I'm starting to understand the way that I am, how my brain works, why I am the way that I am, and things like that. So highly recommend going to her Instagram and to check out all her slides about synesthesia and other forms of neurodivergent and how they overlap. So definitely check them out. I am still learning, discovering, uncovering all these different forms of synesthesia that I have. So come along with me if you want. You can subscribe to my channel or follow me on Instagram. I have other socials too, but it's really hard to juggle all of them. So I'm mostly on Instagram and on YouTube. So feel free to follow me on those platforms. I would love to hear from you guys. There are also a lot of common questions that I see that are being asked in my shorts. So the next video, I am going to address them. I thought of putting them into a 60-second video, but synesthesia is very nuanced, and I think it's better if I were to answer them this way, like a long form video, talking head, and me just sharing with you guys like that. So yeah, leave me a question in the comments. If you're a synesthete, feel free to share your experience. What was it like for you when you found out you had synesthesia? How did you find out? How did people around you react? Good or bad? Did you experiment with it? How did you experiment with it? What did you do? And if you don't have synesthesia and you're curious, you can not only ask me, but you can ask other synesthetes in the comment sections as well. Everybody has a very different experience, so I'm sure you get a lot of interesting answers. All right, I'll see you guys soon, either in a short or in the FAQ video.